What a win for the Seattle Mariners. Oh my gosh, I don't even really know where to start with that game. So let's just dive on into it as the Mariners defeat the New York Yankees tonight. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. As always, before I get started, do me those two favors. Hit that like button. And if you're new here, maybe you're lurking, you like watching the channel, but you haven't hit subscribe yet, just hit subscribe if you can. They're just two free, easy ways to really help support my channel as I'm on the road to 3,500 subs. Thank you all so much. We're rocking the Sonics today with Oklahoma City getting eliminated last night or the night before. I don't remember. I don't watch much basketball anymore, but you got to support the Sonics. Bring them back. Bring back the Sonics. What a win for the Mariners. They score 4 runs in the ninth inning. They win at 5-4. They improved to 26-22 on the year, and they remain in first place in the American League West. I mean, maybe one of the more improbable wins in baseball this season. I mean, maybe there's a 9-run comeback a team has had, but to score 4 runs off Clay Holmes, who has not only not given up an earned run this season, but I'll tell you, even if he had, this is still one of the best relievers in baseball. And the Mariners were able to rally and get 4 runs off him in the ninth inning. I know there were some infield hits and some bloopy stuff, but the Mariners have given up runs like that too. That's baseball. So for them to score 4 runs that ninth inning and only the Mariners, it's like they get you in that position where you just feel so frustrated, and then they come back and win a game like that. And they've done that several times this year. They're kind of becoming the cardiac kids a little bit, or cardiac team, whatever you want to call them. This win tonight, they had won a couple weeks ago in Houston. Baltimore on Saturday, they rally. Minnesota a couple weeks ago with the Cal Raleigh Grand Slam. Boston early in the year with the Julio walk-off. And I think there's a couple others that I'm missing, but they've shown an ability to come back late in games and pull these out. They've shown that. I joked on Twitter, ended up coming to fruition. I was like, it would be the most Mariners thing ever to get a few runs off Clay Holmes here in the ninth inning. And sure enough, not that I'm the prophecy or anything here, but and I didn't expect them to rally and win this game, but what a comeback. And against, like I said, it is very Mariners. Marcus Stroman shuts you down for 7 1/3, and Stroman's not bad. He's a savvy veteran guy, but actually the Mariners did get a run off him because Canzone hit the home run. But someone you'd like to see a few more runs against than that. And then Clay Holmes comes in. You're like, well, great, we're not getting anything off him. And somehow you rally for the 4 runs. But great effort by this team. And I got to applaud that for this team. Win, lose, draw, no matter where they end up, I do respect this team's ability, or I should say, just their drive for not giving up in these games. And I know they're professionals and no professional team should be giving up or anything like that. And this is probably, most teams, you probably don't give up. They're professionals, like I said. But, they've had a few of these rallies, like I talked about just a minute ago. They've done this before. And I think Scott deserves credit for that. I think keeping these guys invested in the games. I'm not in the dugout. I don't know what's being said. But I think it's got to be hard sometimes to keep guys motivated to do it, because you want to criticize like, hey, we need to be better, but hey, this game's not over. We got to keep pushing. I think as fans, I know for me, sometimes I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, just make outs and get this over with. Get your outs and get this over with so we can move on to tomorrow. We've all done that, right? We've all sat there and watched these games and said that. If you haven't, kudos to you. You're a better fan than I am. But we've all done that. And this team hasn't. They have shown a lot of moxie, a lot of guts to come back and win these games. I think Scott and the coaching staff deserve some credit for that. I do. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe they're not doing anything. The players deserve credit as well for doing it. So I'm not trying to say that's all coaching. Players have to do it too. It's one thing I was talking about with the Seahawks. Listen, there was valid reasons to move on from Pete, but the team was always competitive, and there was never a give up with the teams. That doesn't mean there's not frustrating things that happen with Pete. Doesn't mean Scott doesn't have frustrating things, but I do admire the ability. And I think that is coaching. I do believe that's where coaching, plays a role in that. Now, get some more runs early in the game. That would be nice as well. So I can't, that matters too. You can't win the game. You can't win the game in the first quarter, second or third, right? Pete just in the fourth. I guess Scott is taking over that mantra for Pete Carroll about when you can win a game. I need to post that one on Twitter. You can win the game in the fourth quarter or the ninth inning. But this team in general, even if they had come back and lost, which would have stunk, even if, let's say Aaron Judge hits a 2-run home run in that ninth, would have been heartbreaking. But I do admire this team for coming back. They're showing some guts and stuff like that. And that's where, listen, I can pull up Fangraphs, Savant, and I do, and I love those things. You can pull them up all the time. But baseball, and all sports are deeper than just the spreadsheets and the analytics. We need the analytics. I'm a firm believer in them. But, the analytics would have told you Clay Holmes probably sets you down 1, 2, 3. And he didn't. And that's what makes sports so great. It's like so great. We can predict moments, but you still don't know. And there's no clock to save you in baseball. And you go out there and you keep fighting, and good things can happen. And they did for the Seattle Mariners tonight. And they deserve credit for battling there. They absolutely do. And now they set themselves up pretty well in this series. Like, I'm fine with a split in this series. I'd love to win it, love to sweep it. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. But, if you can find a way to win one more here in this series, I'm okay with that. I can live with going into Yankee Stadium against this lineup and a really good pitching staff in New York. A good bullpen, which is now probably not going to have Clay Holmes for the next 2 days. And another huge thing in that inning, regardless of what happened, the fact that you're able to make Holmes throw 30 pitches. Now you can get out of there with a split. I think that's pretty solid. And then your schedule does finally start to open up a little bit for the Mariners. So just a great win. And then just, if this team was like 12-40, that would have been a fun win. And it's always a little sweeter against the Yankees, isn't it? The Astros, the Yankees, the Red Sox, it's always a little sweeter to rally against those type of teams. Like, I would be pumped if they did this against the White Sox. But that kind of would have just been like, well, that's the White Sox. So nothing crazy there. But you do it against the Yankees and a guy like Clay Holmes, and that's not a diss to the Yankees. That's actually a credit to them and how good they are. That it just makes it a little bit sweeter. Little different box score today. I'm going to run through the 9th inning first, then we'll get into the box score and the pitching performances. Top of the 9th, so Mariners are down 4-1 going into the 9th. Clay Holmes comes in for Luke Weaver, who has actually been pretty solid this year. Luke Weaver has that. Holmes has been outstanding, but Weaver's done a nice job for the Yankees. Former Mariner last year, who I actually don't think was that bad with the team, but whatever. We aren't here to talk about Luke Weaver as a Mariner. Rojas grounded out, so he already had one out to start it. Julio singles on a little grounder back to Clay Holmes. Now listen, again, I've talked about, Julio, we need to see the slugging. We need to see more extra base hits. Excuse me, was that Julio's best hit ever? No, it was a little grounder back to the pitcher. But I thought it was a pretty solid at bat. I thought he fouled off some tough pitches. Thought he laid off some decent pitches from Holmes. And he put the ball in play. It's why people that will get on the strikeouts will say, put the ball in play, good things can happen. And Julio used his speed and was able to get that rally started. Now listen, if that was Julio facing me on the mound, then no, that's like, Julio, come on, got to drive the ball a little bit. But against Clay Holmes, I thought he had a decent at-bat. Now, maybe that's easy for me to say that the Mariners rallied and won the game, but I didn't think that was a bad at-bat at all from Julio against Holmes. And he reaches. Cal walks. Another really good at-bat there from Cal Raleigh. The red-hot Luke Raley singles. Now, it was a tough play, I think, for Torres. I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I can play this play, because it was he ended up being safe at first. They threw it over and they threw it away. Gleyber Torres did. So Julio ended up scoring on that. Cal went to third and Raley went to second because the ball went in the dugout. So he had second and third. But Luke Raley, another great day for him, had 3 hits. He is red hot. Mitch Haniger, listen, it wasn't pretty. It was a little blooper that fell in. But again, this is why, and I'm kind of been like, hey, strikeouts are outs, not the end of the world. But for everybody that's been preaching the strikeouts, this is why you want to put the ball in play. So I'm giving everybody credit here. That's not me. I'm still kind of a believer, listen, outs are outs, but it is better to put the ball in play. And you saw why in that 9th inning. Mitch Haniger puts it in play, a little blooper, falls in, and he got a 4-3 game. He found no man's land. That's what you want to do. Great at-bat by Dylan Moore to work a walk. I think he got down 0-2, or at least 1-2 in that at-bat. That's an underrated at-bat in the inning. People will talk about the Canzone sac fly, Luke Raley, and they deserve credit too, and Ty France, and he deserves credit as well. But that Dylan Moore walk is an underrated at-bat in that 9th. It's probably going to be forgotten. Canzone hits the sac fly, which I love me some Dave Sims, but dude, the call on that. I thought that was triple deck, upper deck in Yankee Stadium off the bat. Initially, I thought he got under it, but Dave's like, there it is. I'm like, we just had a grand slam. Now, sac fly, we'll take it. It tied the game. But I thought Canzone got that. I think he thought so for a second, too, because he looked frustrated. That sac fly literally was the definition of, in Major League, when he goes too high, too high, too high. That was literally too high. But hey, we'll take it. Canzone's had a, tough time against breaking balls, swung over the top of one in the first pitch. So I was kind of thinking, oh, great, here we go. Canzone's going to strike out. Just how the mind of a Mariner fan works. You guys, I know a lot of you are the same way. It's not me trying to be negative. Um, and to his credit, he drives the ball and gets the game tied up. And then great job by Ty France, and a classic Ty France hit. That little inside out swing, pushing the ball to right field and getting the RBI hit. That is like vintage Ty France right there. More of that, Ty. Please, more of that. I know that thing wasn't stung or anything like that, but man, I'd love to see more of that from Ty France because I want Ty France to succeed. I want Ty France to be good for this team. And he's had some clutch moments. He had a great at-bat in Baltimore to tie the game up and gets that big hit in the ninth inning here for the Mariners to win the game. So I've talked about before, like, listen, right now, maybe the Mariners' first base of the men of the future, even later in this year, isn't on the roster right now. So the best thing for the Mariners at the moment is Ty France to be good. And listen, that's good. We will take that. That is a game-winning clutch hit. Sign me up for that. So great at-bat there by Ty France. Didn't try to do too much with it, and that's what I like the most about what Ty France did there. Now let's get into the pitching, and then we'll get into the box score a little bit. Logan Gilbert, 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 run, 3 earned, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Logan Gilbert did not have his best stuff today. In fact, I would say stuff-wise, pretty mediocre start. But again, kind of a microcosm of this game for the Mariners. Logan battled against a lineup that has Anthony Volpe swinging the bat well. Stanton's bounced back a little bit. Soto and Judge, enough said. Verdugo's having a decent year. Rizzo's bouncing back a little bit. So it's a good lineup. I mean, I could just say Judge and Soto, and that's all you need to know. And Logan got through 6 innings, 3 earned runs. He gave his ball club a chance to win. Do I think Logan can do better? Yeah, I think Logan can shut out anybody. I think Kirby can shut out anybody. I think Castillo can. I think Wu can. I think Bryce Miller can. I think all these guys can. But you're not always going to have your best stuff. And what do you go out and deliver? Do you go out and deliver 4 innings, 7 earned runs, let the game get away from you? Or do you keep your team in the game? Logan Gilbert deserves credit for that. You're not going to have your best stuff every time out on the mound. And, and the Yankees deserve credit too. They're a great lineup. They're going to get you for some runs. And the Mariners should have done more against Marcus Stroman. 6 innings, 3 earned runs should have been enough to keep you in the game. And it was, as we saw, the Mariners won the game. So is that an A from Logan Gilbert? Not in terms of his stuff today, but I think it's going to sound cheesy, but it's an A for effort. And to battle when you don't have your best stuff, to keep your team in the game, I think Logan deserves a lot of credit. I talked about it with Castillo on Saturday. Now, I think Castillo was better Saturday than Logan was tonight. I thought Logan was giving up some pretty hard contact, but he battled through it. And guess what? Gave his team a chance, got those double plays. At the time, we're probably thinking, oh, whatever, who cares? It's not going to matter in the long run here. They're going to lose. Well, they found a way to battle back and get that win. So it does matter, and Logan deserves credit for that. Kirby Snead was not very good. Pitched the third of an inning, 2 hits, 2 walks, no strikeouts. Listen, the one thing I'll say in Kirby Snead's defense, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Kirby Snead because truthfully, he's probably gone when Saucedo gets back. The 2 walks were to Soto and Judge, which, the alternative against Soto and Judge is a lot worse than just putting them on base. And the 2 hits he gave up was an infield hit to Anthony Volpe, which ended up being caught stealing. Cal catches 2 guys stealing today. Another little underrated thing that may be forgotten that was huge. And Verdugo puts a little blooper, into left field. Now, listen, I just praised the Mariners for doing that against Clay Holmes. So I'm not here to tell you Kirby Snead was good, but, it's just like with Clay Holmes. Was Clay Holmes terrible tonight? Probably not, but the Mariners found a way, and the Yankees did against Snead. So, again, not going to go on too long about Kirby Snead, but the 2 walks to probably the 2 best hitters in baseball. A couple bloops fell in. Probably, do I think Kirby Snead's good? No, not really. I think he's probably pretty 4A, mediocre pitcher. Probably not the best outing to judge him on against this lineup, though, is what I would say. Edward Bizardo, inning in 2/3, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Bizardo does a nice job, comes in and gets the double play in the 7th inning to keep it at 3-0. Does give up run the 8th inning. Actually gets the W. Not that I put stock into pitchers' wins and losses, but hey, got the win. Bizardo's a weird one for me because I don't know. I look at Bizardo, I look at the stuff, and I see a lot of potential there. The command control isn't great, and that's what's keeping him from probably getting to his potential. But I look at the stuff, and I see a good reliever. I see a guy that could be a possible high leverage guy. He's not there yet, so everybody going, well, he hasn't been good. I'm with you. He hasn't so far. But I do think it's in there with Bizardo. And this team has had a good track record of developing relievers. So I am really curious because I bring that up because I know some people are kind of like, oh, send Bizzardo down. And like, if they do, I get it. He threw a lot of pitches today. If you need another arm tomorrow, like, fine. But I do think there's some upside to Bizzardo, and as your last guy in the bullpen, I think he's fine. Any guy that's capable of getting strikeouts, I think can fit into your bullpen because they could always get out of a tight situation. And Bizzardo's capable of that. So we'll see. Hopefully it turns into something, but Bizzardo's kind of my, there's always that one guy that you're just like, I believe in him. I don't know necessarily why, but I do. And for me, that's Edward Bizzardo. So hopefully he can, take a step forward. Andres Munoz. I said every video, but my gosh, is he back to 2022 form? My gosh, is he back? Strikes out Anthony Volpe. Volpe's a good hitter. He looked like Willie Bloomquist would look against Andres Munoz in that at bat. Anthony Volpe this year has a 768 OPS. That was a little higher than that. That's still better than Willie Bloomquist, but is a good hitter. He's a good player. And Munoz made him look like he had no chance in that at bat. The pitch Soto hit for a base hit was actually a pretty decent pitch. I did not think that was a bad pitch. That is a definition of tip your cap to Juan Soto. That's why Juan Soto is one of the best players in baseball. That strikeout to Aaron Judge was just perfection. What a sequence of pitches from Munoz. Gets Judge to swing over the top of two nasty tight sliders. And then that fastball at 101 was paint on the corner from Munoz. What a call to throw the fastball there. Judge is sitting slider. He's guessing slider. And that fastball fooled him. It fooled me because I saw Judge swing and miss at two sliders. So I'm just assuming he's going to get a third one, try to get him to swing at it again. And I was like, oh, Judge didn't swing. Then I'm like, oh yeah, that's a strike. I was sitting there with my family and I was like, oh, wait a minute, that pitch hit the zone. That's a strike. Because I was just ready for Judge to hopefully swing over the top into our slider. Not that fooling me on a pitch is anything to celebrate, but fooling Aaron Judge is much more impressive. But what a pitch there to Aaron Judge. Then it gets Verdugo to ground out to end the game. Man, is Munoz just in just all-star form. All-star form. How many pitches did he throw? 15. You could use him tomorrow. I think you could still have Munoz available tomorrow if you need him. And because he didn't pitch Sunday. So now if he pitches tomorrow, that may put him down the rest of the series. But if you can find a way to win tomorrow, I don't want to say that the last two are gravy, but you feel pretty good. You feel pretty good going into the last two that, hey, if we can just find a way to win one, we'd win the series there. So Munoz was absolutely fantastic. Let's look at the box score real quick, then I'll get out of here. Rojas 0 for 4, cooling off a little bit. JP Crawford was activated, didn't start. I think they made the lineup before they saw JP take batting practice to make sure he was ready to go. So obviously Rojas would be in there anyways against a righty, but I think that's why JP wasn't in the lineup. Excuse me, it sounds like Polanco was available to pinch hit, which is good, but now we're on like 8 days with Polanco, and if he misses 2 more games, he better play tomorrow. I know I said today, but he better play tomorrow because otherwise you've wasted a roster spot because you're almost at the 10 days for the IL with Polanco. So it's like, guys, he's got to play tomorrow. I mean, I guess you could IL him for 2 days. But because it'd be retroactive. He hasn't played since. I thought we might see him getting that bat in the 9th, but Rojas cooling off a little bit, still a good player. I think it might be time with JP back to kind of move Rojas down a little bit. I'm not talking about putting him back in the 9 spot, but maybe 2, maybe even 3 would be interesting for Rojas. Just because he puts the ball in play, can drive in some runs. So we'll see what ends up happening. But not Rojas' best day. But again, if anybody deserves like a break, it's Josh Rojas. Julio Rodriguez 1 for 4. The one hit was a big one, started the rally. Cal 0 for 3, but his walk was a big one. Nuke Luke Raley, Big Thunder, as Dave Sims calls him, 3 for 4. I can't say enough. Luke Raley is just red hot right now. And he was the only one that did anything against Stroman. Canzone did later in the game. But he was the only one that looked dialed in against Stroman. And Raley just looks dialed in general. When guys come up to the plate and you look at them and you go, he's getting a hit. He just looks so dialed in. That was Rojas for a while. Now Luke Raley looks that way. So definitely expect, glad that Raley, I was going to say expect Raley to stay in the lineup. Of course he's going to with how hot he's been. But, like seeing him in the 4 spot too. Glad they moved Luke Raley up. Mitch Haniger 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Again, not a great day for Mitch, but the one hit was huge. Listen, if you're going to have a bad offensive day overall, and you get one hit, make that one hit a big one. And Mitch Haniger, Ty France, Julio all did that. Dylan Moore 0 for 2, but did have 2 walks. Canzone 1 for 3 with the home run off Marcus Stroman, which, hey, ended up big. That's technically the difference. And the big sac fly as well, where he didn't miss a grand slam by much. Curious if that would have gone out in any ballparks. I'm going to guess no, just because it's Yankee Stadium, which already has one of the shortest right field porches. Hey, the Astros are losing 9-7. That's good. And then Texas was off today, so you gain a half game on them. Let's see. I'm just curious if that would have been. Nope, it would have been out at 0 ballparks. It was 101 off the bat for Canzone. Expected batting average is 080. That's just because it was a soft fly ball. Expected batting average on the day, Yankees 334, Mariners 218. But hey, Mariners had more runs, so who cares? I was just curious. I didn't think that would get out in any ballpark, but his home run would have been a home run at all 30 ballparks. So yeah, that would have been out at every single park. So good to see from Dom Canzone. Ty France 1 for 4. Again, if you're going to get one hit, make it a big one. Ty did that. Urias was 0 for 2, and JP did pinch hit and was 0 for 2. Good to have JP back. We'll definitely see him in the starting lineup tomorrow. You face a lefty, I believe Cortez on Wednesday, and the rest are all righties. So should see a similar lineup tomorrow. Hoping Polanco's back, and JP should obviously be back in there as well. Then you can get your third base platoon back, which will be nice. I haven't gotten on Urias too much. He's been scuffling for sure, but he's also had to play a lot against righties. I think once he gets back into that natural platoon, I'm hoping the numbers come back a little bit for Luis Urias. Great win. I cannot say enough. That was just, this team was, I don't know did I say this already? This team was 10-40. That would have been a fun win. That's one that you just smile at no matter what. That's one that makes the season just feel better, and regardless of where you're at. And it's even better because Mariners are in first place right now. So you stole one. You were able to steal a win. That's huge. Now let's see if we can do a little damage in this series. Let's see if we can get a little something happen. You're not going to see Clay Holmes tomorrow. So you get a nice advantage there. And, let's see if Brian Woo's on his game and can shut down this lineup and get the Mariners another win and at least guarantee a split in the series. But what a win tonight for the Mariners. I hope you all enjoyed it. These are the type of wins that I'm just, there were things to be critical of to this team tonight. They were not good against Marcus Stroman. Logan wasn't particularly sharp. But this is just one of those ones that baseball is funny sometimes. Baseball is a really funny game. And sometimes you just have to appreciate it and just accept, did the Mariners play great? No. But you know what? They got to win. And sometimes those are even a little bit better. Sometimes those are even a little bit better than when you play great baseball. Because it feels like you stole one. And that's always fun. Not condoning stealing. I mean, stealing a win. Have a great night, everybody. Remember to hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Leave a comment and your thoughts down below. And as always, go first place, Seattle Mariners. Peace.